So how did I paint this drawing of a Lamborghini Aventador using Photoshop? Let me tell you something. I don't know jack about using Photoshop, and I only know a very basic use of it. Another thing is that I tend to stay away from colors because they don't work so well for me, so just drawing with pens and pencils. In other words, I am terrible with colors and try to avoid them altogether. What made me decide to try it this time, and how did I turn this into this? Keep watching to find out.
drawtechnic.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
As I said earlier, I avoid using colors because it doesn't work for me. However, this time it did. I actually think that because of all my drawing practice, I now better understand how to apply certain mediums to my drawing. What I needed to understand was how to apply the principle of each tool that I use. I knew how to make some particular marks with the pencils, but I couldn't do it with colors. Well, I've solved this problem because I've discovered some tools in Photoshop that can be used to create light and shadow on a picture. You can use these tools to darken certain areas and lighten certain areas. This creates a 3D look of the image, even if you use one or two basic colors, and it's really easy. What are these tools? There's two of them. They are the dodge and burn tools. The burn tool darkens areas that you use it on, and it can act as a way of creating shadows on your image. The dodge tool does the opposite. It lightens up the area you use it on, almost as if someone is shining a light on that area. So, as you can see for this car, I used the pen tool to shape a base color of yellow around the car. The pen tool is good for getting the exact corners that you need to shape. And if you're wondering how I created an outline of the drawing that stays above the colored shape, I duplicated the drawing layer and used the Magic Wand tool. Yes, that's what it's called. I used the Magic Wand tool to select the paper texture from the new layer. Then right-click and select Similar. This selects most, if not all, the paper texture on the layer, and you can delete it. The only thing left behind is the drawing outline. If you keep this layer on top, you can draw shapes underneath it, or on the bottom layer, and it will look like you're coloring the image. So once I place the base color down, I start working in the burn tool. If you use the soft round tool, it will help to make the burn look blended into the color. Very quickly, you can make the image look 3D by using the burn in the shadowed areas of the image. You may have noticed the headlights. I drew a shape with the pen tool in a dark gray color. And if you see on the right, you may notice the opacity tool. You don't have to, but you can make the color a bit more translucent or see-through. So you can, if there's any details in the back, you can see them through the shape. I then used the brush tool and a lighter gray color to highlight the reflections in the headlights. I didn't do it in any particular way, I just did what I felt looked good, and if it didn't, I just undid it and tried another way. It takes some playing around with, but that's how you find the best way of doing something. You experiment by trial and error. After trying out burning whatever I could, I move on to using the dodge tool. And don't mind the green, I tend to get frustrated and flip out on my work, because I know I can undo it. I actually thought maybe I could work in a bit of green into it, but that sounds too advanced for a beginner colorer guy like me. Yes, that's a phrase now. So the dodge tools work exactly like the burn tool, but it highlights areas instead. So with the shadows mostly at the bottom of the car, the light is going to be on the upper areas of the car, namely the roof. I go ahead and highlight it, and bear in mind these are all this is me just playing around to see what looks good, and I keep it if it looks good, and if it doesn't look good, I just undo it. The wheels were very simple. I used a silvery white brush to paint the whole wheel, and since the line work is above it, it just makes the wheels look shinier and stand out more. Now this is the fun part. I tried to actually draw the Lamborghini logo in the front part of the car. How the heck was I supposed to do it? The end result of this was actually really cool, and I'm about to show you how I did it. I penned a black logo shape on it, and I did a Google search to see how the Lamborghini logo looks. I chose one and copied it to use as a reference, something to look at while I attempt to draw my own. Now, watch this. I use a very small brush with a golden yellow color, and I draw the Lamborghini text on it. Now, you may be looking at this and thinking, what the hell? Trust me, just keep watching. I then draw a really crappy bull just underneath it. Now see how it looks when I zoom out. Can you even tell if the logo looks bad? The detail of the logo is not what's important here because it's too small to focus on. It's not like I can zoom in by 100 times and use a strand of hair to paint the logo accurately and exactly. No one's gonna look at it and marvel at it because it's too small. I created a representation of the logo, which looks fine in my opinion. After that, I continue the process of drawing shapes and burning and dodging whatever I needed. And one last thing. I wasn't satisfied with the shade or tone of yellow that I used, so I went over it again with a more rich and darker golden shade of yellow. After that, I just rinse and repeat until I think it looks done or I've had enough. If you like this video, then be sure to hit the like button and consider subscribing if you're new. Let me know if you have any suggestions in the comment section, and thanks for watching.